Sun Dai Gai Bai Zai Bui Bui Dari Dun Chi Mi Le Toi Dun Dir Nur Bu Nye Bai Shui Mi Ai Ze Bai Der Jur Di Lai Nim Bu Loi Shi Gui Nye Gan Toi Chi Naim Chi Chai me be mi da chi wa ya chi me den ni ni chi wa den bar ju wa na le den de la nguen go pe da ma la de yang de je ge zai chi sai jai tham chi ko wen ju le mi dai ve ko wen du ngai de lai do shi na dong xian yu me ge sai chi mi zong yong ko wen so le yu du en de che den du me lu choi son ja su zong rang den ja zhui ni ce la mian bei shen bian jiang shu sem la dai du lai shen bian nian bu so sa yong gu yin nai sa jiang ge bo chen zhui niang ma len che di gar gen dor semen tu gar de ge sem bo de lai me kai tin de ngon de se ge zhe be mi yin bar de ge ne bo de lai dai shi na ngon ni ga nya mo chu ju ne ni mon de le ga wa te zoi me de yang shi lam je su mo ma che na le ju me be chong ro son dan zong de wen do ngai ju de te be ze cha je rang gi le lai go mo de ze rang sim shi lu de ne sa ge ja de dar ma do chu be wa so ne cha dan du ke na re zen ko tu she te ba gun gi de lai she ru de de chu ba jun ze tai me ge ri dong jian be ngang dai yong wa na pen me be shi lu ja we se de la lam ge tai ni dai chui lai nian zhen gun du yin sui me ju jian shab de lu nyam mai re do chai le zhu ken be ge ze ni ji ran shu du kor de ngon du ju ren ze de bu lai de shi la mai de sum ngoi zhe lai jun du rang ge de go mai mai je na tang chi gu yu ju ya ni bu me de wen da du rang ge ju lai jo rang ge nyam am len sa me ne sa de pen be sem ge shen lai zhi dai na shen den jia chen ju me che ba wo tab lam ke be she rab chen ko je de ge ra Mando Lo Ser Jedai Bede Khenpo Gangshar Wang Be Sharma Pu.
First of all, I would like to ask you all to please rouse the motivation of bodhicitta, a pure motivation, as you listen to the teaching this morning. And now for the teaching. I have been teaching on the natures of the Four Noble Truths. And among these, yesterday, I spoke about the nature of the truth of suffering. No suffering. So yesterday I explained about the truth of suffering. And so once we have known what suffering is, we then need to free ourselves from suffering. We need to eliminate, or we need to abandon, we need to be able to abandon suffering. And so how is it that we can do this? In order to do this, we need to examine what the causes of suffering are. And the cause of suffering is the truth of the origin. Now, the cause of suffering, because it is the cause of suffering, it is the basis of all presentations of what the world is like. All of the origin of everything is this truth of the origin. So this is why it is called the truth of the origin. And so when we think about the truth of the origin, the primary presentation of the Four Noble Truths given in the scriptures, or the treatises, is found in Vasubandhu's Treasury of Abhidharma. It describes the natures of all four of the truths in 8 chapters. In the 3rd chapter, it teaches the truth of suffering. And then following that, in the 4th and 5th chapters, it teaches the truth of origin. So it teaches us over the course of 2 chapters, and the reason for this is that the primary first reason for suffering is karma. And so first it gives the teachings on karma. It teaches the origin that is karma and gives a clear presentation of karma. But karma arises out of the afflictions, and so the afflictions are taught in the 5th chapter, the teachings on the kernels. And so this teaches all of the different types of afflictions, how they develop, and how they produce suffering.
Tadanda chitanga naranzo jitinga dedu de kama dene chonre sena lela dene chonre sonre lete kande jere sena lete la namba ni yore la semba yele no somba lumo kale song yore semba yele singinde tombo semga somne tikamo la dene join betena semba yele Somba lumokale, tateta senti somne, tini kare chekere sena, kapkala luchi kone lega chekere la, kapkala ngoka kone lega chekere. Tatela, somba lumokale, se lete la tene, tanchi tinche komdala, kapkala nekap dewa tan, tini nekap tunghawa tan, tini tartung koro kene so tunghan nomba na sopa, jai masi par nyuwate, nyuwar jirwa imbechena, Lechi kanjung se sumare. Lechi kanjung te jokana tene jungu yore se na nyemo kanjung se. Ta nyemo kanjung te la tanda shiba yendu la leu ngabane ten yore la. Leu ngabane te nyemo tembe leu sum yore. Taji tembe leu sum yore la. Taji sikite ke tanda rabote kandi jere se na. Tanda muma te kana koge yore se na nyemo pala koge yore. Nyamo pala koge yore te ina yandela nyamo pa masonga taji se songo bejo tete tombo ta chebe kasala tawa chunchung teke kone yam erge yore chunchung teke kone jene tene jiten je konde dedu se tuba je yomar jorwa yimbe chena taji se tombo tawa yimbala tene jene jachengo jelo So the
origin that is karma, this is taught in the 4th chapter, the teachings on karma. And this opens by saying, from karma various worlds are born. So this karma is the source. If we think about what do all the pleasures and pains in the world come from, they come out of our karma. Actually, there are 2 different types of karma. There is the volitional mental karma, and there is the intended karma, intended actions of body and speech. So the first, the volitional karma, volitional mental karma, is first of all the motivations we have in our mind. These are our volitions, the wish to do things. And then because of these, we engage in the intended karma of body and speech. We have a volition, the volitional karma in our mind, and that prompts us either to do an action with our body, or we do an action with our speech, and those are the intended karmas of body and speech. And it is because of these karmas, these actions, that all the pleasures and happinesses of the world arise in the short term, and eventually that all of the sufferings of all the places of samsara arise. And so this is why it is called the origin of karma. Now that karma comes out of the afflictions, out of the origin of the afflictions. Now, as I mentioned before, the chapter in the Treasury of Abhidharma is called the Teachings on the Kernels. It's not called the Teachings on the Afflictions, it's called the Teachings on the Kernels. The actual meaning of the term is the afflictions, but there's a reason why they are called the kernels instead of being called the afflictions. And the reason is that at first you have a very, very small, tiny affliction, very subtle, tiny affliction, the kernel of the affliction that then grows and expands. And as it expands and as it grows, then it will produce all of the pleasures and pains of the world. And so for that reason, because it is first subtle and then it grows, it is like a kernel. It is a subtle thing that grows and expands and then produces all of the suffering of samsara and the lower realms. And so this is why it is called, this is why they are called kernels. Now with the afflictions, generally it is said that we have the 5 poisons: greed, hatred, delusion, pride, and envy. But in this treatise that explains the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, the treasury of Abhidharma, it's taught instead that there are 6. These 6 are greed, hatred, pride, and ignorance. First these 4. Then in addition to those there is the view, and the last one is doubt. And the reason for this is that sometimes our existences arise out of doubt. Sometimes it is because of doubt that the afflictions will increase. So it is included as one of the 6 kernels. And when we talk about views, what do we mean by a view? Well, views in their nature are actually prajna. Temporarily they're prajna, but their essence is obscured by ignorance. And so in particular, this is the view of the self. The view of the self is sometimes also called personality view, or the view of the transient. And the reason for this is because our body and speech are transient. We create our personality based on them, but they're transient. They're always changing from moment to moment. So whatever arises eventually is destroyed. And so for that reason, this view of the self is also called the view of the transient. And so the reason for presenting this is that we need to know that it is possible for us to eliminate everything that needs to be eliminated. We can eliminate them, and it's actually easy to eliminate it. But we can't eliminate it when it is grown, when it is full blown, when it is already developed. But we are able to abandon the afflictions when they are small, and so this is why it is important for us to understand that they are like the kernels or the seeds, and that we can eliminate them.
Tini senti teni tehi poi yapo di tena tini dela teni rimoga teni pon hawa imbe cerna tombo senti kumunte juna dela teni pon tuba imbe cerna somba rimoga leda semba ikele pon tuba ta pon tap teni cerna de naina ya Teta de no in Bateya, Yambo Gatu Gond, Zena, the Nipia, Yambo Bashim the Jepe, Gasamaimba, Yambo Gatawa, the Hinda Tower, Dodin Batawa, Jela, Tuba in Betina, Mariba Tower, Jela, Tuba in Betina, Nitawa Nepona, Jebate, Ponhawa in Betina, Dela de Main, Taji, Topper de Barella, Dorna, Dana, Dumagatawa de. Kunju tembarela, kunju te lero niemo pano bani rela, lero niemo bani pote, naranzo tehi pae tene, pona, panju ye pate, pon tu pate, tela tempo ton chapo me pate, impicerna, teta baka mai tane, ta tela kunju temba. Te mapona kare robe ore sena, te jitin koru tunu kai ju tawa rabaje impicerna.
With the origin of karma, then we might think that if we have to abandon all unvirtuous actions of body and speech, we might think, this is too difficult, I can't do it. But actually, this is why we talk about it as being intended karma, because when we intend to do something mentally, that is when we engage in actions. If we do not mentally intend to do something, then we will not do any actions with our body and speech. And so for that reason, if we are able to abandon the volitional karma in our mind, that is, if we are able to change our motivation, if we aren't thinking to ourselves, I need to do something unvirtuous, something misdeed, I need to do something bad with my body or something bad with my speech, when we do these actions, they come from having the motivation of an affliction, whether the affliction of hatred or the affliction of greed, and this is the root. And so when this arises in our mind, if we apply our body, our mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness, then these are easy to abandon with our body and speech. And so that is why it is taught first that these are mental. First, there is the there are the intended karmas of body and speech that come out of the volitional karma of our mind, and this we can eliminate. And so, for that reason, it is taught to be that the volitional and the intentional karmas. Now, with the origin of the afflictions, we may think to ourselves that we can't give it all up, but the root of all of the afflictions comes down to ego clinging. It comes down to a very subtle ignorance, and that subtle ignorance is easier to abandon than full-blown ignorance. So that for that reason, it's taught that they are called the kernels, or to literally translate the term subtle expanders. So the root of all suffering is the origin, and this has the two aspects of karma and the afflictions. And if we are able to apply our mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness, then we will be able to abandon them. And the reason is because they are not stable, solid things. They're not lasting, solid things. And so the origin and so this is why they are called the truth of the origin. Now, if we do not give up the truth of the origin, what will happen? Well, all of the confused appearances of the world of samsara will occur. They originate from that, and so therefore it is called the truth of the origin.
Sumutazilla, Yupukasala, Tenite, Topa Nampara, Tenium Topa Barata, the Legion Casala, Kaja Mungo, Kaja Mungo, the Solina, Kaja Mungo, Gurmungo, Tate de Aranda, Sumungo Doje Logantique, that's what I think. Nunruton, Kimon, the Yabo, Jesu, Ajamuni, Dela, Nama, Imbadula, teacher na, Dati Mundo, taking ready in attention to Sapo, Nida, Yonsulin, Dewa, Sumare.
So that is today's discussion of the natures of the Four Noble Truths. And so we will move on to the main topic of the teaching, the Song of Khenpo Gangshar. So today we are at the song on page 3, from the Mahamudra Preliminary Practices, Continuous Integration with Ground Path and Confusion, and Fruition, sorry. This is a very short song, but it teaches the entire path. It teaches both the preliminary practices and the main practice very concisely, but in a very profound manner. So, who is this taught for, and when was it taught? Well, it was taught during the time when Khenpo Gangshar was at Surmang Dutsitil Monastery. This is a time when his realization had really grown and increased, and he gave many teachings and to anyone who asked for them. So this teaching was given to the Vajra master of Surmang Monastery, who had asked him to give a teaching on the preliminaries, ground path, and freedom, and in response, Khenpo Gangshar taught this song. It's very short, it's only a few words, but the meaning is extremely profound, and it is also easy to practice.
Padinama solo adapte, Padinama cocherie, and this one, and in the sexy tip of Tombotella, Zemi, Lamon, teaching, choosing people, Tanjimo Galon there, Hakon Lamala, Cocherie, and the Carreo or the Sena, the Nizimba Meba, the Khenchen Meba, the Topa Chepertin, Tujil join the combattere Navarella, Tinawate, Pego de Lalam, Sisuarella, Lalam Setu, Nankala, Pegabare, Ninjagan, Nankala, Lam, Kahikaka, Sonuarella, Lalam Setu, Nankala, Takonka Tuji, Topa, the Nankadon, Yambate, Nankala, Pegane, Nammoso. Namkate, Tomani in Becherna, Namka, sending a dance to Marella, Zemite, Chutoki, Tony the Zipper, Chuki, Yank, Niluke, Zipper, Capso, sending the dance, not to be Vezena, Ticapsala, Chuchukoi, sending the dance to your mare. I sending a dance to Setova, Tetra Matu, sending on Jella, to Tewachi, Tungiorella, Morona, Yamtoba, Chepertin, Jella, Tungapso, Nikin Tetra Matu, sending on Jella, to Nijimboji, Tungiorella, Tela Tichin, and Tewachimbo. Tewachimbo depend on Namkani, Pemba Yungi or Vesena, Namkani Pemba Yungi or Mare. One Namkani Pemba Kandisi Yungi or Vesena, Namkala Timba Training. Chunzi to Timba Tipale, Nintay, Tatante, Big, Tansegi or La, Tanangala, Tantay, the Nikon Chuchikola, Tutewa Tibuga, Niji Timbontone, Tasenting and Kandisi Yungi or Vesena, Sexatipa Nipate, Kaldin, Durzi, Hinsar, Domchu, Charge, Lemberze, Karwagon, and Druza Domchi, La. Tenete, Tombe Chuti Charpa, Tombe Chuti Charpa, Tutsewati Bugone, Tombe Chusungre, Tombe Chusula Sumares, and Kalwadon Temple, Dozata Kela Sungre, Tate got the Nomkane, Nitente, Nomkane Chapapa, Chabati Hinkalapa, Chuti Chate, Nihinkate de Lambachuane, the Nitrimbe, and Rola Sopa King, Niteta Pegoni,
Now the song opens with a stanza or a paragraph in the English translation, a stanza of homage and supplication. And the supplication is to his precious guru. And it describes the great qualities of the precious guru. And so it begins, and the order is a little bit different in the English than in the Tibetan. It reads, "A gentle rain of sacred Dharma falls from the many clouds of kindness gathered in the ungraspable sky." And so the first talking about the qualities of the guru, the main quality is that he has no fixation, so ungraspable. He has no fixation and no clinging. And the example for this is the sky, the empty sky. The sky here in the Tibetan is literally called the divine path. It is just a poetic synonym for the sky. So the sky is the emptiness, and so the sky here is given as a metaphor for emptiness. It is the guru has the Dharmakaya realization of the nature of the Dharma expanse. He has realized this fully, but is this Dharmakaya able to bring benefit to sentient beings? It is not. The Dharmakaya cannot directly benefit sentient beings. Well, then, how is it that the guru can help sentient beings? Well, he develops great compassion for the many clouds of kindness, or you could say the many clouds of great compassion that gather in the sky. He has the great compassion of wishing to bring benefit to all sentient beings who have not realized this. And so they have not realized emptiness. He wants to help them realize emptiness, and so he feels the great compassion or kindness for all sentient beings. And so is it the sky that is able to benefit, is the sky able to benefit other sentient beings? The sky itself is not able to benefit other sentient beings, but it is by the clouds gathering in the sky that then it can shower rain that brings benefit. And so in the example, it is in the sky, in the empty sky, there are the cloud, that is the Dharmakaya, there are the clouds of great compassion that gather. And then in the second line, in the Tibetan, which is more like the opening of the first sentence in English, "A gentle rain of sacred Dharma falls the many clouds of kindness gathered in this ungraspable sky, moistening the fields of fortunate disciples." And so it is like it is raining, giving the clouds let forth a gentle rain of Dharma that moistens the fields of the fortunate disciples. So he is giving showering the rain of Dharma upon the fortunate disciples. So when the clouds of compassion gather, then he is able to give Dharma teachings to the fortunate disciples. And so the example given here, the comparison is to the sky, the empty sky, and then within that sky there gather the clouds of great compassion, and then from the compassion there comes rain that moistens the fields, and because the fields are moistened, the crops are able to grow. And the meaning of this comparison is that he is continually raining showers of Dharma upon fortunate disciples.
Give Tene Khenpo Lamro ne Dela Kari Yungresena, Nyo Tampechu Yung Tabaji, Nyong Sumento, Tampechu Jene Jetawa Yenda He, Te Jetawa Yenda Nyong Sumento Pala Tene, Nekap Jepembato, Tarduka Dewaton Jitela Tene, Jumbiyo Rela, Teta Vuga, Tanyengo Kalone, Tepanam Tutela, Drop a Mojiki, Japati Lama New Rule, Tene Tenero Tembe. Nipati Lamante, Tangaranzo, Inkuna, Yuni,
Now the remainder of this stanza is again in a poetic form, and I think if I explain the metaphor first, then it's easier to grasp the meaning. So the metaphor is that first you have the sky, and then there are clouds of compassion that gather, and it showers the rain. And when that happens, what occurs? Well, the fields become moist, and the seeds that are within the fields are able to sprout. They're able to grow, and this is the basis for wealth and plenty and prosperity to occur. And so the meaning is that that the Lama has the great compassion, and because of the Lama's great compassion, they teach the Dharma. The fortunate disciples have the imprints of the virtuous imprints within their being, and because of the teachings of the Dharma, those are allowed to grow. In the best of cases, they grow greatly, and the student is able to practice the Dharma properly. They're able to understand the nature of the Dharma. They're able to practice, and this will bring them temporary benefit in this life and ultimate happiness. This all comes from that. And so, as it says, widely renowned and most glorious Guru, you are the ground of all benefit and happiness, remain forever within my heart. And so, may the Guru, who has such renown and fame, stay within the center of my heart.
Tatandangaraso, Tonga, Chikashi, Mama, Denzo, Tama, Palangor, Denzo, Nyanso, Nene, Tenenti, Tusanti, Combati, Nyamini, Sipikawa, Tontemba, Kawasambu, Chumarela, Teta, Roma, Po, Hidutia, Sone, Hadela, Karisumbi, or Sena, Hari. Tenchi Milu Tokundar, Tanda Chibu, Ngaran Doyore, Karidi Sena Ngaran Buddha Bota, Tundra Bota, Nyanga Bota, the Nicotina, Layo Mare, and the May Luti Toyore, Tanda Chibu, Tusum Sopa, Kalva Zambo, Tinde Joyore, Tanda Ngaransola, Luti Zambo, Tene Kiri Tontemba, Tenenamke Tontemba. Sheraton Demba, Taposon Sobote, Naranso Toyo Adela, Tieto Tunder, Noruda Deni, Daka Kalwazambo Jomuare, Panjaron Jegom, the Senata, Norwich Chepati, Toyo Adela, Pete Yendo, Tandanaranto Militopa, the Pe, Mazile. Kalwazambo Jomuare, Akabazambo Jumaka, Yejumazeba, Tata Milukati, and Topere. Cartiava Yore Samaro, Carchum Mendebaro, Tanjurda, Imbolungi goes, Tanjurda, Tola Damagabate, Tanjurda Topa de Kavazamborella, Kavazambo joined in the Latera, Tanya Imbo de Devayabate, Devay Milu Tombo Miluto, Milu de Tanyabate, Tambachundro, Maranzo Tente Tomaton Tau, Tente de Tarvaton Tinchem, Compondabate, Inji, Medici Gugare, Della Semplici Gugare, Tombotanjani Barca, so
Next, the song teaches all of the instructions, and it begins with one stanza that teaches about the precious human body with its pleasures and resources. It begins with an address to the student saying "Hey" or "Kid," and then it says, "Listen well, my most fortunate and meritorious child." And so he's addressing this to the students who are gathered there at the time, and as well as to all those who in the future would have the chance to listen to or contemplate this study, this song, who would have the opportunity to meditate upon the song, these are fortunate and meritorious children. They have a very good fortunate, and they're very fortunate students, and so he calls them here his children out of love. And here he says that you've acquired this human form, and it should actually say this extremely meaningful human form. Now, when you have acquired this extremely meaningful human form, don't squander it as if wasting a precious prize. We have a human body now. We weren't born as a bug or some other animal. We were born as a human, and and it is a very meaningful birth. It is an excellent birth. We are extremely fortunate to have this birth. This is a good body to have gained, and it is one with intelligence, with prajna, with discernment. And so getting it is like a prize, or more literally you could say it is like a jewel. It is a really wonderful jewel. So in terms of the metaphor or the comparison is to a jewel, something that is like the greatest of all wealth. And similarly to that metaphor, then this human body is extremely fortunate. It's very, very fortunate to have received it, to have achieved it. We must not think to ourselves, "Oh, a human body, those are get them all the time. They're not that important." We should not think like that. Instead, we must not squander this precious human prize. Instead, we need to take full advantage of its freedoms and opportunities. We need to give meaning to this human life, and giving meaning to this human life means that we need to get a result out of this human life. So now we have this human body, and we need to give meaning to it. We need to practice the Dharma. And by practicing the Dharma, we need to free ourselves forever from suffering and achieve the lasting happiness, to ultimately achieve the lasting happiness. The next two lines teach impermanence. So now at this time, when we have achieved the precious human body, you may now have that which is hard to come by, but the time of your demise is unknown. So we're very fortunate to have this human body, but there's a problem with it. And the problem is that we do not know when we will die. And so we need to make good use of what we have now. And so at the time, so take full So why then would you not continually ponder on mortality and life's impermanence? And so impermanence is going to occur to us, and so we need to think about it and use it as something to inspire us to our Dharma practice. And so these two lines teach us death and impermanence. The next two lines teach karmic cause and effect. So if you remember from the very depths of your heart, so if you remember from the very bottom of your heart that this is the way things are, there's no place you can go to avoid death, and there's no way you can get away from it. If you remember that, then will you have the bravado to try and deceive the karmic law of cause and effect? So if you really remember this, you think about it over and over again, then would you think to your, when you remember this, you realize you have to accomplish virtue, you must give up unvirtue. But if instead you don't do anything virtuous and you continue to do unvirtuous things, would you have the bravado? Would you dare face up to the karmic consequences of what you are doing? And so for that reason, we must think about this over and over again. We must be very careful, and we need to apply our mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness. The next paragraph in the English, the 4 lines, which is 4 lines in Tibetan, teaches the defects of samsara. It teaches why we need to give up misdeeds and non-virtues. But not only do we need to give up misdeeds and non-virtues, as it says, whatever roots of virtue you amass. This might, you could say, whatever compound roots of virtue you amass. So compound roots of virtue, these are the compound defiled roots of virtue. This means virtuous activities that we do with a focus on this life, or that we do with a focus on achieving happiness in the places of samsara. So whatever compound defiled roots of virtue we do will never reach beyond the causes of samsara. So any compounded defiled action, that is, any virtuous act that is based upon ego clinging, will not be any more than a cause of samsara. It'll be merely a cause of temporary happiness in samsara. So we need to reflect on this, reflecting on the dukkha experience thereof, of samsara. So we need to think about this quite a bit. We need to, as we said yesterday, we need to know suffering. And then why not capture the stronghold of the natural state, great emptiness? So the great emptiness here refers to freedom from samsara, the state of liberation and omniscience. This is the ultimate stronghold or citadel of the ultimate meaning. So why would we not seize that? The meaning here is that we need to practice dharma in order to achieve the ultimate result. If we merely achieving happiness, a temporary happiness in the places of samsara is not necessary. Now the next stanza on the top of page 4 teaches, among the 4 special preliminaries, it teaches going for refuge. So when you wish to be quickly freed from the ocean of samsara, We need to be freed from the ocean of samsara. And how do we need to be freed from it? We need to be freed from it quickly. Now, what is the method to be freed quickly from the ocean of samsara? It is to take the stable and unfailing 3 jewels as your refuge. So we need to have a refuge that is unfailing or undeceiving. We need to have someone who we can place our results in. But we don't merely need temporary refuge. So who is the refuge we need? The best refuge is the 3 jewels. And so taking them as our refuge is the instruction, is the 5th instruction on going for refuge. Now we need to go for refuge, but there's going to be a problem when we go for refuge. If we only go for our own refuge for our own sake and take a partial or incomplete refuge, the refuge of the foundation vehicle, then that is a problem. So for that reason, we need to go for refuge with the attitude of bodhicitta. So to seek refuge for yourself alone is a partial path. Therefore, continually train in the altruistic attitude of bodhicitta. We need to go for refuge in order to benefit all other sentient beings who are as the limitless sky. And so we need to have the attitude of, we need to continually train in the attitude of bodhicitta. And so this is teaching refuge and bodhicitta. Now, after teaching about the 2 refuge and bodhicitta, the song then teaches, after we have done that, we need to gather the accumulation of virtue. And now when we do this, the general practice that we do in our meditation sessions is we do the mandala practice. And we do this, we gather the accumulation of merit in order to gather all of the harmonious conditions. So in practice, we will do, during our practice sessions, we will do mandala practice, but here he's addressing what we do in between sessions during the breaks. And the English here is maybe not so clear. If the benefiting others is the gateway of gathering the accumulations, it's the gateway to be able to benefit others is that we need to gather the accumulations that we need to gather the accumulations. If we gather the accumulations, then we will be able to benefit others. And so if that is so, then treasure the king of purification and accumulation, the 6 paramitas. And so the greatest of all ways of accumulating merit is the 6 paramitas. This is being generous, practicing discipline, having patience, meditating on, or being diligent, meditating on samadhi and increasing our prajna. These are the 6 paramitas. In order to gather the accumulation of merit, we need to strive at perfecting the 6 paramitas. And so these are the instructions on gathering the accumulation of merit.
That day, Isolam and Angelum, the Siena, Tangaram, so things and Cheverty, Jilla Chebuiore, things and Cheverty, Jilla Chever, Gate of Artitintos, Takaka, Yumiore, Gate of Silver, anything as a convert to Monroe, pull them with that Lama from the car, yesterday, and so Atakuiore, some net, I think, tomorrow, my number give a trade, so on. That day is the
Now sometimes there are hindrances and impediments and obstacles to developing experience and realization, to developing the realization of the ultimate. And in order to eliminate these, we do the practice of Vajra, which is taught here in one line. All hindrances are to be dissolved within Vajrasattva's heart. So you imagine above the crown of your head, you imagine Vajrasattva, and you imagine that all of the hindrances and obstacles will dissolve into his heart. And so these are the instructions on doing Vajrasattva meditation. Following this, there are the instructions on Guru Yoga. Now sometimes we have difficulty or obstacles in developing true samadhi within our beings. And so when we experience these obstacles, we need to have something to eliminate them. We also sometimes develop samadhi but are not able to increase it, so therefore we need something to enhance our practice. And so the best method to do this is to remember the kindness of the Guru and to supplicate the Guru. As it says here, to clear obstacles and make progress, recall the Guru's kindness. So these are the instructions on the common and special preliminaries. And they're followed by a section on the benefits of practicing the preliminaries. Now don't be distracted by complex and wordy Nundra liturgies, or don't be distracted by the complex words of the Nundros. When we're practicing the common and the special preliminaries, we shouldn't think about just the mere dry words, just about the words. We shouldn't be attached to the words, because if we are attached to the words, we will get distracted. Instead, we need to think about the essence of the meanings, simply ponder these essential points again and again, or always. So when we are doing either the common or the special preliminaries, it's important that we really contemplate the essential meaning of these words. But if we do this, then we will be able to practice well, and soon both the preliminary and actual practices will be part of your experience. If your practice is good, you will be able to really establish them within your being. And if you do so, this will assure victory over the Mara of the emotions. There's no doubt that you will overcome the root, the root of it all, which is the root of samsara, which is here given, personified as a Mara. And so there's no doubt that you will be able to overcome the Mara of the afflictions.
Nasib teacher na yetawe ten papa de yongu yore kewe do ma junde tipete ni jachewa do ten ju do ka ten ju do sapa somo je jide chimbo tenom je revo ndabota ni jo tseni je tipaton tebe somo do je tipike tsemo tabate kandere choje chimbo re choje chimbo ronga wama country choje chimbo segide je na chimbo do tai sabo sumbi ore de ina yo deta ba mai ba rang senje nelu de la yapu je tehi boye do tembe ko ni chong to na tati mo ndabo de imbe de la gong de bon segide ai jeta ve de no papa de suai ta.
Following this, there are the instructions in the actual practice. And the actual practice has the three parts, the ground, path, and fruition. So if you're unable to distinguish ground, path, and fruition, so the ground is the basis, the path is the meditation, and the ultimate result is the fruition. And if you're not able to distinguish this, your practice will be like wandering through unknown valleys or through unknown canyons, like really short, very narrow defiles and canyons where you're unable to see anything and you do not know where you're going. And so for that reason, you need to familiarize yourself with the path of Mahamudra, the very pinnacle of both the causal and the resultant vehicles of Sutra and Tantra. So what this means is that we need to understand the ground, the view. So there's the vast view of the sutras, and there's the profound view of the secret mantra. We need to understand their presentations of this and the results that come from them. And the pinnacle of all of these is the practice is the path of Mahamudra. Now Mahamudra itself is vast and profound, but perhaps it is just actually looking at the nature of your mind with mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness. If you're able to maintain it in this way, then that is the essence of Mahamudra. So you need to familiarize and accustomize yourself to it.
Tomba maimba la tomba yon soku biyo mare, salwa maimba la salwa yon soku biyo mare, naranga senti nelu ke, ye demane, dopu sonti jamden de te kongkonga nedan rabotela, yuyo wale, te ke nedan re. Ta tela no yon de sena, tetar mato, trubu on sonne, ta no neso tenton de tembe on de sena, tende je yuyo wale. Ta non surkundu je tembe on de sena, kande yung kare sena, tetar mato, trubu on sonne, tetar mato ne, tenen trubu yuare, trubu on de sonne, tenen trubu la tene, tenen zamba chenpo chung la tene, deja ton, hedon ton, tungal chi narse, korso hi, dan korwa la nuare, ta ye demane nelu te tuna sanjire, sanjite mato na, chadam monsong ka topa chi kasa na korwa re, te nesu tendam je tempa ton, non surkundu je tempa de, tipa ka je tela hiru de, ta hilan de songa non, hete tata de je yore la, niti nesu non sur de pone, non surkundu je tempa de pone, nesu tendam je tempa de, nanta churku ki yoba de, ta hilan de pa de, songa.
And so the view is that we need to familiarize ourselves with Mahamudra. Well, how do we do that? Well, there's both the way things are and the way things appear. And we need to manifest the way things are, and we need to let the way things appear disappear. And so the way things are is described here. The nature of your mind is the primordial Buddha. The nature of your mind is not something that you need to change. You do not need to make something that is empty into something that's not empty, or something that's not empty into something empty. You don't need to make something that's not luminous into something that's luminous. You just need to recognize the nature of your mind as it is, and if you recognize it, then it is a Buddha that is present within your mind. That is the ground. But that is not how things appear. So ultimately, that is the way things are. But in terms of how things appear relatively, we do not recognize that. However, not realizing this has caused you to fall under the power of confusion. Because we do not realize this, we have become confused. Because of confusion, we have attachment, and attachment has led us to have greed and hatred and various sufferings. So it's translated here as the torture of acceptance and rejection called samsara. You could also say that you are tortured by the suffering of greed. You're tortured by greed, hatred, and suffering. Now, this is called the ocean of samsara, and so this is what we call samsara. So the way things are is actually Buddha, but when we do not realize this, then with greed, hatred, and delusion as the root, we wander in samsara. And so there's the ultimate way that things are, and there's the relative way that they appear. And understanding this is called by all the schools. This is called the ground. So the relative way in which everything appears is what we need to eliminate, is what we need to abandon, and what we need to make manifest is the way things actually are ultimately. And so this is said to be the ground.
Tendin Turbasana, Ye Nedate, Yedamane, Saji, Balangoma Debate, Chodong, Dunan Mombu, and Koru Sola, Nuachena, Yeda Turbasun, Kandiku Grisena, Lama Temple, Lama Kandidin Temple, Tamil Ritum Jemba, Tamil Shiba, and Tamil Shiba said to the more Sakon Ripa. Riton, c'est de mo sarki ripa, mo tomba, Saint-Genève de Yorela, Saint-Genève de la, Jemba, sont de Caredun, Saint-Gay Oresena, Jemba, sont de la Tirtang, Tal, Yom Topola, Carey Oresena, Tene Coatana, Yom Topa Sam Yorela, Coasena, Darang. Each not to Latine, that lady in Badra, Tending and those on the Coarella. Coati get in Tatu and Devo Togo Resina, Tatu and Devo Togo Mare. Coati Pangere Resina, Pangere, Caredesina, Toba Cheperti Jilla Jevala Pangere, Teta Coati Maiba, Jembas and the Deva Saint and Neton de Teca, Nyon, Toba Jilla Gene. Rondon Joana, Tati Nelude Joana, Penny maybe Hill Jalute, Nita Kitty Condana, Enedon Dumada, Deva La Sopa, Choyita, Gita La Sopa, maybe Hill Jalute, Della Longeta Nita Chola, Tati the Gonde Johnson and the Catala, here long Davidson, long Hita.
So that is the fundamental ground of how things are. We have primordially been Buddhas, but not realizing this, we are overcome by the confused perceptions of the relative. So how is it that we can rid ourselves of the confused confused appearances? We need to apply ourselves to the path. And so this is why the next that teaches the path. And this is taught here. It says, when this confusion arises, if you are able to simply sustain the naked inner glow of ordinary empty awareness and meet the natural state beyond help and harm, this is what is called the path. So the path is that right at the time of the ground, we do not recognize the Buddha within ourselves, and so we wander in the ocean of samsara. So what do we need to do? We need to be diligent about the path. And how is that? Well, the method is taught here in order. We need to recognize the naked ordinary awareness. So the naked ordinary awareness, or the ordinary mind, this means the clear and empty awareness, the awareness that in essence is empty, it is also in essence luminous. It is the nature of the mind, and it is said to be naked. Naked means, what naked means is that when we develop experience and realization, there are three different types. We can have understanding, experience, and realization. Understanding means like a thought, an intellectual thought, thinking, oh, it's like this, it must be like this must be how it is. That is understanding. Now, ultimately, does that help us achieve, do we achieve the ultimate result through that? We do not. But is it beneficial? It is, because it is beneficial for producing the realization. So instead of understanding, what we needed to have is naked experience. We need to experience the nature of the mind directly as it is, and this is what is beneficial to us. And so when we recognize it as it is, then we will recognize the natural state that is beyond any help or harm. And so we need to practice this path. So between the three of ground, path, and fruition, this is the second of the path.
Chapter Minyam Redu Tone Follow Tanjila Chapa Linjituba Nyamba Atinitela Reva Toba Lati Toba Chebrati Yena Mayam Reva Toba Darwa Tobu Tone Follow Chempe Tarji Tadela Tene Toba Chebrati Jilla Jiba Latine Chempe Tate Hira Paso Toba Temba Jam Hira Paso Toba Tembe Najalta Todo Gajuru Munrova, Tetra Matu Senji Tantilla, to Nije Timbo Ronju Dolne, Nije de Ronju Yungiore, Nije de Ronju Yungiore, Candidesena, and the Kamabaronju Doji, the Soji Melon Canone, Roy, Tata Son Jeju, Matu Unge Tamin Croacha, Duman Mundame de Sentina, Zemi Nije Jilla Rose, Rose Jeto Son Jebe. Jodha de yore vezene yore de yena de lot lento ge yomare la nin korwa la chamne duman na banna to banyonge yore la teacher na rang ge to pa chebrte jilla ji be kapsala tedar ma to senji to je la ni je ron ke dole yore teta korwe ge jando nyangi ne de be yente de nando jebe tsema tan de bo yon to pa je to ba la se tati yeah, long day was on the Chaja Jimbu, Tower, I want to say the Muyi, I want to say the Domate, the Noisare.
So that is the nature of the ground, and then when we practice meditation, will we be able to achieve a result? We will achieve a result. Well, when will we when will we achieve that result? Well, the next paragraph teaches us when, the measure of when we have achieved the result. So when there is no distraction, neither day or night. So when you're able to practice day and night without ever being distracted, resting in the nature of the mind without ever forgetting it, then at that point, an all-pervasive evenness. So it is all-pervasive. It pervades everything. It is even. It is spontaneously present. And it is beyond the confines of both hope and fear. So there's no hope hope or fear that is this the result or is it not the result. And at that point, wisdom's strength is powerful. So the strength of your wisdom and knowing becomes very strong, and you develop a real excellent understanding and prajna at that point. And at that point, you do not come under the influence of the afflictions of pride or envy or so forth. Instead, what happens is the compassion, a natural compassion wells up from within. So naturally, compassion will arise within you. This is as described in Ranjan Dorji's aspiration of Mahamudra. The nature of all beings is primordially Buddha, but because of not realizing this, they wander in samsara. For those beings who experience endless suffering, I feel unbearable compassion. And so all sentient beings have the cause of Buddhahood? They do, but they have not been able to actualize it or put it into practice. And as a result of this, they experience the various sufferings of wandering the oceans of samsara. And so when we develop realization ourselves, the compassion for sentient beings who do not realize this naturally wells up within us. And so at this point, when we realize both the faults of samsara and the qualities of nirvana, when they are actualized, then at this point we have achieved the result. So in this way we have discussed the ground path and the fruition, and this is a description that gives the actual practice of Mahamudra.
Tendi lam des the modela yendata yore lam the tabla tengure devunda tabla togure on the motesebala chenna be nyamne na kausala kande gogure sena jundo rong in tigam mazena jundo rang se jetenda te yoni on to come te maji bana ne rong in tigam sena pe togure mato Karte rang in digam maze na tonje goyul tonje la meto ne go te naranga hako sun hi sun sambasan ya te la ingo hiro yo mare te ke pento tempo yungu yo mare teacher na tu jondo drinking conversation te la tene pento tempo yungu te ve na ta rong ke la jor tu jondo rong se te Sente tendo com, sente tendo maji base bate, rang jela jorgo de, pasana bajinore.
Now the next verse gives advice, and so in the song it taught the preliminaries, both the four common, and the four special preliminaries, and then after teaching them, it teaches the actual practice in terms of the ground path and fruition. And so it says here, in this introduction of the ground path and fruition, and so here it says in the translation, it says, then there are the ground path and fruition. You could translate it instead as, with this introduction to the ground path and fruition, you need to continually familiarize and cultivate them. If you do not continually familiarize and cultivate them, so in other words, by continually familiarizing and cultivating them, you need to think about them over again, you need to contemplate them, remember them, you need to meditate upon them, cultivate them, you must not forget them. Instead, if you do not do that, instead it says here, if you have a partial understanding, there's a little point to a partial understanding, if you leave it as something that you understood for a minute is another way of translating it. If you have just a minute's understanding, there's no point to that. And so if you understand it for a minute, you go to the guru, you receive the instruction, you say, oh, I understood. Yeah, that's good. That's a partial, that's a minute-long understanding. That, there's no point to that. There's no benefit to doing that. Instead, you need to continually familiarize yourself and cultivate these. You need to remember them continually in your mind, meditate them, and not forget them. And if you do this, you will be able to integrate them in your being. So this is the advice.
Hina Niki Damati Yabo Jete, Teya Hina Pentogre, on the Kuno number of Gone, Pensate also number of Gone, Hina Tutana, Yenda Jaji Dimitri, Senti Hinja, Jajan Yungere, Dimitri by Yungere, on the Tadi, Yenda Person to Bajo, Jote, Yenda Person to Bajo, Sote, Damate, Denore.
And so by practicing these fifth instructions on the preliminaries and the path, then this is beneficial to ourselves. We achieve the perfect benefit for ourselves. But not only do we need to achieve the perfect benefit for ourselves, we also need to be able to bring benefit to others. So we also need to achieve the perfect benefit for others. And the way that this happens is that if we practice this, the manner in which we will achieve the perfect benefit for others is described here. As it says, these points are the very quintessence of my own practice. It should actually say, if you advise others about the profound points of your own practice, if you give others advice about the quintessence of your own practice, then this will bring vast and continuous benefit to others. And so when we understand these and practice them, we develop experience and have a result of them, then if we teach them to others, it will be benefit for the others. We need to teach these instructions to others with a pure motivation, and then it will definitely be beneficial to them, and that benefit will be vast and will be continuous. So treasure, so with great skill, treasure this treasure them as the wisdom wheel, the very sharp weapon of skillful means. And so this is teaching the causes for developing the perfect benefit for others, as well as the instructions on how to manifest that. Now when we practice benefiting others, we need to have both means and wisdom. And so cherish them as the wisdom wheel, the very sharp weapon of skillful means. And so we have the wisdom, and then we need to use various methods to teach them. And if we do this, we'll be able to bring benefit to others. So this is the method of bringing benefit to others. And so next is the stanza giving the history of how these instructions were given. What was the reason why they were given? Whom were they given to? And so first it teaches the source of this. These words of advice were given in accord with my own experience, or to the point. So it's with his own experience. It's not just saying words. It's because of his own experience from practicing the preliminaries and achieving the results of the preliminaries. His experience of practicing the main practice and the result he achieved from that. And he's giving these instructions, which are to the point. They're short, they're rich in meaning and deep, so they're very profound. And the person he gave them to was the Salchedamba, the Vajra master of Sarmang, and the person who gave them is the old beggar Gangshar who wrote whatever words came to mind. And so this, so he taught these words directly, and this stanza gives us the history of it, and that completes the explanation of this song. So that is enough for our morning sessions. Now, I had originally intended to leave enough time for there to be question and answer at the session, but there isn't enough time. So I beg your pardon for that. And now I'd like to ask you all to please make good aspirations and dedications.